Thank you for having us, and good morning to your viewers. The situation definitely in KwaZulu-Natal, in Devon, in particular, St Augustine Hospital, it's scary and it's really, really irritating. For the least to say we are being misled. Our attitude as Denosa is that one, the Minister of Health, with the powers vested in him, must descend on that hospital and close that hospital, and not sections of the hospital. They must close that hospital in total. Two, all those healthcare workers, in particular the nurses, just like we brought people from Ho Hang to take them to Polokwane, let us take all those nurses and put them in a place where they will be quarantined for that period of time. The CEO of Netcare, St Augustine, must be personally held liable for misleading and giving us wrong figures and not complying with the guidelines in terms of preventing the spread of the coronavirus.
How practical is that demand, shutting down the hospital?
It is very, very simple and practical, because if you have also, we've received calls from even people in around the hospital that the very same nurses would go to the supermarket nearby at Spa with them. Now they are equally worried. What we are saying is, for a minute, let's forget about profit. Let us save the lives of our people. And when you get the reports, most of those deaths in KZN, in particular, they are from St Augustine Hospital, and none so far have been reported from the public hospitals. And we are also extending our message to the national minister, not only the private sector. If the public hospitals are also becoming delinquent and they are not adhering to this call, the same must happen. They must be closed. We rather not have hospitals open that are death traps, where our people are going to be subjected to bad conditions. We are saying those who don't comply, let's set an example with St Augustine, it must be closed with immediate effect. And we are looking forward for that announcement for today. The Premier, in support with the National Minister, must descend on St Augustine Hospital, and they must close that hospital.
Does Denosa support the Nehawu action of taking the Department of Health to court in terms of the provision of protective clothing for healthcare workers?
The call by Nehawu for protective gear came before the department can make this announcement. Yesterday, there was a telephone conference of all MECs, including ourselves as the health union, where they have made a commitment that they have delivered, they have received, and they are going to roll out this, what you call it, the PPE. We are saying as Denosa, we want to be there in the forefront to see indeed that these things have been issued. And our shop stewards on the ground, they must monitor the actual deliverance of these PPEs. It must not be talk shows on the radios and media. We want to see it with our eyes. And then we must facilitate and make sure it goes to the needy and the right places.
As Denosa, have you made your own national scan of the situation in terms of how the corona outbreak is affecting nurses?
What we Denosa have done is we have war rooms in each and every province. And every week, twice in a week, we are receiving reports to our National Nurse Center in Denosa head office, where we consolidate and analyze the reports. And we have said to our members out there, report any institution that is not compliant so that we can raise it with the national minister and then demand action to be taken. And as I've said earlier on, if public hospitals are going to behave like St Augustine, they will never be spared, and they must not be spared. They must be closed also. And the CEOs of those particular institutions must be personally held liable for not complying. And we as Denosa, we want to see today whether those things have been issued, those PPEs. We are making a follow-up. We have received a scanty report that KZN and Eastern Cape have received consignment. We are still waiting for our ground forces to advise us about other provinces.
Cassim, as part of the general fight against COVID-19, retired nurses have been called out to come and assist. Are some of these your members, and how is this going to be regulated?
The people must come and assist as volunteers. If that's my question, I didn't hear it very well.
Yes, that's what I'm
asking
you.
No, I think the issue of volunteers is out of order. We've got a lot of nurses out there who are unemployed. Before you can even start thinking about a volunteer, and let's not abuse the crisis and call for people to come and volunteer. Start employing those people who are sitting at home and they can contribute effectively. And once we have exhausted that process of employing those people, then we can consider the volunteers.
How will we see Denosa's visibility going forward in the fight against COVID-19?
I missed the question.
How will we see your visibility in terms of the activities that you're going to be carrying out as Denosa in the fight against COVID-19?
Well, if I heard you correctly, our visibility, we are instructing our provinces to be very visible, to go on the ground and make sure that, number one, the biggest weapon we can use is education. We need to inform and educate our public out there. And as Denosa, we are committed to play that role to educate our people. And we want to believe, together with the department and all other stakeholders, jointly, we can straighten the curve than the way it is now. And I want to believe this country has the potential, and this being the year of the nurse, that's where nurses will demonstrate their relevance and importance, as declared by the World Health Organization, that the year 2020 is the year of the nurse, and that I'm saying, as nurses, that's where our expertise will be relevant and will be seen. You can imagine a country without nurses. We can imagine South Africa without nurses today with this COVID-19. That is why yesterday it was the World Health announcement on honoring nurses and midwives. We must make that clarion call, and that we as a country must demonstrate that we are going to take our nurses very serious, and we're going to support them in terms of curbing the spread of the coronavirus.
Cassim Lekhoathi, thank you so much for speaking to us. Mr. Lekhoathi is with the Democratic Nursing Organization of South Africa, Denosa, saying a few important things there, including that the recruitment of volunteers is out of order in a country where so many nurses are out of work.